Some of these suspensions include operating a motor vehicle during a period of suspension. Yeah, I know it sounds like a catch-22. I'm not going to get into that in this scenario. When you're in another state and you get a driving offense, that would result in a suspension here. In other words, you're working in Oregon, you get a DWI in Oregon, the state of Texas find out about it, the state of Texas will suspend your license here. And there's any number of these scenarios that can result in license suspensions by the Department of Public Safety. Generally, these suspension periods are about 90 days. They can be longer, and you do have the right for a hearing on that, but that hearing is just an administrative hearing, and the ability to appeal that or the likelihood of prevailing on whatever challenge you may be raising post that administrative hearing, in my experience, is that there's a real cost benefit there, and it's unlikely, and it's a very high burden to set aside what the administrative office of the Department of Public Safety has done when they've suspended a license based on some of these conditions. Now, certain driving offenses carry surcharges. If you're not paying your surcharges, suspension, right? So driving while intoxicated, certain conditions, sometimes there are surcharges. You don't pay those surcharges, boom, you're going to have another suspension. You're back in this catch-22. You got to find a way to pay those surcharges. Start driving for Uber, take on a second job, deliver pizza, whatever it is, pay those surcharges. Don't let that become a cycle from which you cannot escape from. Now, here's one where most Texans can get behind. It's the suspension for failure to carry proof of financial responsibility. It has been a long-standing problem, and when I was a young child and young man coming up in this state, it was a huge problem where drivers were not driving with any insurance of any kind whatsoever. It was more the exception than the rule, where now most of the time it is the exception that somebody doesn't have financial responsibility. And that's because Texas is very harsh on checking for financial responsibility at the time of inspection on an annual basis, and also the penalties for not carrying it, which can include a license suspension. So have financial responsibility, find a way to be insured. The cost way outweighs the benefit. Get insured. So just a few more areas where your license can be suspended. Failure to pay child support. State of Texas can use lots of different ways to make sure you pay child support, and one of those is suspending your driver's license. The state of Texas can also suspend your license for failing to attend school. So again, minors don't have truancy charges. Your license can be suspended for that. The other things that can come up that can result in a license suspension, the biggest one, failure to report a motor vehicle accident. That can trigger an automatic license suspension, and that'll create a whole host of problems that you just don't want from law enforcement. So don't flee the scene, stick around, give proof of insurance, make sure you're in compliance with state law, avoid these headaches.